I've been trying to hold off on making this video for years now, but I can't take it anymore. It's time for me to rant about Trolls. Trolls is a 2016 movie from DreamWorks about these happy little creatures called trolls. All these happy little creatures like to do is to have a good time, sing, hug each other, and make scrapbooks. Meanwhile, there's these evil creatures named Bergens who like to eat the trolls and have them held hostage. These Bergens aren't able to experience happiness by themselves, so they have to eat a troll to experience happiness. They do this at an annual festival called Trollstice. So while this is promoted as being a kid's movie, to me it seems like a post-apocalyptic nightmare. But I think this movie really revolves around the story of an awesome prepper named Branch. So after being eaten by these Bergens for several years, the trolls decided to finally make an escape through some underground tunnels. But you could tell early on in the movie that these trolls had no clue about the danger that they were in. For years, they were just continuing to have a good time while their family and friends were eaten by the Bergens. They were successful in their escape due to some elder trolls who had not been fully indoctrinated yet, and they eventually settled on a bug-out location to reestablish their civilization. But even at this point, you could tell that these trolls were lost as they were trying to select their location, not based off of water, not based off of access to food, but based off of sweet acoustics. After establishing this civilization, they began a re-education program with the youth to train them to not fear the Bergens anymore. However, the Bergens were still a very live threat to these trolls. And these trolls were constantly asking for it. They were being loud, annoying, and always giving out their location, totally avoiding OPSEC. The evil troll Poppy was the worst of the bunch, although she did have a friend that farted glitter in people's faces. Not cool. The hero of the story, Branch, was not impressed by any of these trolls. He constantly warned them, hey, I could hear you a mile away. If I could hear you, the Bergens could hear you too. Just for saying this, Branch was mocked and ridiculed by his family and friends, and all he was trying to do was warn them. However, Branch is not the perfect hero. He advertised that he has a survival bunker that he plans to hide in. Rule number 1 for preppers, do not talk about your survival bunker. However, Branch made that mistake. He talked about how it was camouflaged and fortified, and that he wouldn't be caught dead singing and hugging and dancing. So fast forward, and now the trolls decide they're going to throw a big celebration for 20 years without the Bergens. As we all know, you can fully indoctrinate the youth within 20 years of re-education programs. The whole time that the other trolls were planning out this party, the prepper Branch was busy stockpiling supplies for his survival bunker. In this video, he was focusing on wood and kindling for his fire supplies. So they decided to throw this big party and had fireworks and loud music and the whole 9 yards, and guess what? One of the Bergens found out about it. And not just any Bergen, the worst of the bunch who has a historical track record of tracking down these trolls and having them eaten. They were fully indoctrinated at this point, and they were even laughing as they were being caught. So sad. Most of the trolls were able to escape this ambush, although several were caught. Unfortunately, Poppy wasn't one of them. So Poppy immediately decides she's going to plan a rescue mission. So who does she reach out to? That's right, Branch, the guy that she's been making fun of this whole time. She goes over to Branch's survival bunker to ask for help. The hero, Branch, the kind person that he is, actually lets her into his survival bunker. It looks like something made by Atlas Survival Shelters. This survival bunker is fully decked out with supplies and tactical gear. Branch tried to say, hey, they're your friends, they're not mine. For saying this, Poppy's just like, hey, you're just going to hide in your survival bunker forever? Basically turning on him a lifelong friend. Branch decides to give Poppy a tour of his survival bunker and advertises that he has 10 years of supplies for himself and 11 if he decides to drink his own sweat. So he must have some kind of water distillery down there as well. Impressive. Branch had a moment of weakness where he said, you guys thought I was all crazy. Well, who's crazy now? Crazy prepared. At this point, Poppy has a moment of weakness and says, I'm sorry, I should have listened to you. And rather than just letting it go at that point, Branch went for the ultimate burn and said, well, why don't you try scrapbooking? Burn. So Poppy pretends like she's going to leave and go on this rescue mission by herself. Again, Branch should not have talked about his survival bunker because guess what happens? Poppy decides to bring every single troll into his survival bunker. She completely raids the place and brings in a whole bunch of freeloading trolls who immediately start going through all of Branch's supplies. She turned on him. Not cool. And she's like, well, I thought you had 10 years of supplies. And Branch says, yeah, 10 years of supplies for me. It'll only last 2 weeks with all of them. And you could tell right off the bat that these indoctrinated zombie trolls were still messing around, mismanaging supplies. It's just a prepper apocalyptic nightmare. I did a little bit of math on Branch's supplies. Again, he said he had 10 years of supplies for a single troll. 10 years equals 3,650 days. Branch did the quick calculation stating that his supplies would only last 2 weeks with that huge horde of trolls that were there. 2 weeks is 14 days. So if you do the math, that's basically 260 freeloading trolls that raided his survival bunker to go through all of his supplies within 2 weeks. It wouldn't even last that long because you could tell right off the bat that these trolls were totally mismanaging the resources. So the evil Poppy decides to go on a rescue mission and leave Branch with that horde of trolls in his survival bunker. So the unprepared Poppy decides to go out on this bug out mission that she's totally not prepared for. She has no supplies, she's singing this annoying song, and guess what happens? She immediately runs into problems with marauders. When it looked like she was done for, guess who saved the day? That's right, the prepper Branch. He not only had a fully stocked bug out bag, but he had obvious self-defense training. You even saw how he had a first aid kit and various weapons. So Branch totally saves the evil Poppy and helps her out on the rescue mission for no trolls left behind. At this point, just turn off the movie. It's not worth watching to the end. Again, this movie is absolutely horrific, especially for us preppers, but it does teach us some valuable lessons. Do not talk about your underground survival bunker with people that are constantly making fun of you about being a prepper. Only share that information with the people that are within your circle of trust. Do not promote that you have 10 years of supplies of preps on you. You're likely to be raided by your closest family and friends for those supplies during an emergency situation. And just as we saw in the movie Trolls, the story of Branch, a lot of these trolls are just totally lost at this point. They've been completely reprogrammed to not even think about those evil Bergens who want to eat them. And even when they do get caught by the evil Bergens, they're laughing and singing and farting glitter. It's so sad what happened to these trolls. I have a hard time watching the movie Trolls because of the reasons that I listed in this video. If you like watching scary, apocalyptic survival videos, I encourage you to watch the first 15 to 20 minutes of the movie Trolls. It gives you some valuable insight into the mindset of those that are prepared versus those that are not prepared. And that's all I have to say about Trolls. Thanks for watching.